I walked into the interview with my head held high. No desperation, no second guessing. Navy blue suit, clean lines, nothing flashy. Heels comfortable enough to own the room. Hair in a soft twist. Resume crisp on thick paper, tucked neatly inside my folder. I didn't rehearse a thing, didn't need to. The glass building gleamed in the Austin morning sun, steel signage sharp and cold. At the reception desk, I greeted the young woman politely. "Good morning." She glanced up and down, smirked. Didn't faze me. "Interview?" she asked, not even looking at her list. "Yes, Monica Elridge, 10 o'clock with the strategy team." She tapped her screen, nodded tight. "Wait over there," she said, motioning toward the chairs. No smile, no eye contact. I walked over, sat down, smoothing my skirt. The leather was stiff and cold, but I didn't flinch. I crossed my legs and opened my folder, eyes fixed straight ahead. Minutes later, a man in maroon and khakis strolled by. He looked at me, did a double take, and chuckled quietly. "Deliveries go through the back," he said, loud enough to hear. I met his gaze without blinking. "I'm not here for deliveries." He kept walking, pretending he hadn't heard a word. Then a woman in lavender called my name. Early 30s, friendly enough, but her eyes darted too fast when I stood up. "Right this way," she said, leading me down a carpeted hallway, smelling faintly of coffee and toner. I glimpsed inside the glass offices, fingers tapping on keyboards, hushed meetings. A few stares found me. Not curious, no, measuring, judging. Inside conference room 3, 3 faces waited. 2 men, 1 woman. 1 man wore a pinstripe suit, hair salt and pepper like old silver. The other had a buzz cut and a smartwatch, eyes darting to the woman, young, pale, lips red as fire against a mismatched blouse. I smiled and held out my hand. "Monica Elridge, nice to meet you." Their welcome was cold. Buzzcut didn't rise. The woman's handshake was quick, then back to her papers. Pinstripe tilted his head. "You're overqualified for this position, aren't you?" That question lingered, daring me. I answered, even and clear. Qualification shouldn't be a disadvantage. He arched an eyebrow. "Fair enough. Let's get started." The interview began with resistance, not curiosity. By question 2, I felt the room shift. "Walk me through your employment gap," said the woman with red lipstick, flipping pages like a detective searching for a clue. "You haven't worked in 4 years?" "I took time off to care for my mother full-time. Advanced Parkinson's. She passed last spring." The room went silent. The buzz-cut guy didn't blink. "How do we know you're up to speed?" He leaned back, challenge clear. "A lot changes in 4 years," I said, calm but firm. "I consulted on short-term projects last year and can discuss recent case studies." He nodded, unimpressed. "Sure, but real corporate strategy isn't something you dip in and out of." I looked him square in the eye. "You'd be surprised how sharp you can stay when you've been around long enough to help rewrite the rule book." That quieted the room for a second, then Pinstripe hit me with the next question. "You were a director at Olden Rowe Partners. Why apply here for a mid-level role?" I didn't flinch. "I was told this company is evolving, and I'm interested in building something lasting. Hierarchies don't impress me. Vision does." That pause hung in the air. No reaction. I knew what they were really asking. Why would someone like me apply here? Someone with my resume, my presence, my confidence, my red lipstick? "Well, we're results-driven here," Red Lipstick piped up. "We want team players who collaborate without making things personal." I stayed calm. Results speak loudest when the room actually listens, but I get that some rooms aren't used to certain voices. Buzzcut exhaled something dangerously close to a laugh. "Let's talk metrics," he said, flipping pages. "You mentioned leading a restructuring project that saved over $4 million annually in your cover letter. Is that verifiable?" "Absolutely," I said. My team consolidated vendor contracts across 3 departments. I have the documentation. Pinstripe waved it off. We'll get to that. Let's keep it high level. How do you handle pushback from a team that doesn't see things your way? I listen first, I said. Then I ask better questions. People want to be heard before they follow. Red Lipstick raised an eyebrow. That sounds a little idealistic. I gave the smallest smile. Maybe, but I've seen it work. And that's when it hit me. They weren't looking for someone qualified. They were testing if I'd crack, bend, or fold under pressure. They weren't interviewing me. They were poking the bear. But I didn't growl. I didn't rise. I stayed calm, elegant, answering every sneering question with grace. Sure, I wanted to walk out at times, not because I was fragile, but because they didn't deserve my presence. I stayed, not desperate, but disciplined. Silence, I didn't know it. I gave them strength instead, but they didn't realize I've been in this game too long to be intimidated. They looked at me like I was some underdog who stumbled in off the street, resume half-baked, attitude loaded. They thought they were doing me a favor letting me sit at their table. They didn't know my roots. Bakersfield, California, that's where I'm from. Dad, Clarence, a long-haul trucker. Mom, Roberta, pulling night shifts. As a respiratory therapist, we weren't rich, but pride, that was passed down like family heirlooms. By 10, I was devouring the Wall Street Journal. Dad brought it home weekly like it was treasure. Want to know where the real power plays happen, baby girl? He'd say, tapping the front page. Not on TV, not in the news, right here. So I soaked it all in. By high school, I was tutoring economics. By senior year, I earned a scholarship to Spelman College, majored in economics, graduated summa cum laude, 3rd in my class. No parties, just 2 bags and a flight to Boston for a summer internship at a global consulting firm. That internship became a job offer. That job became a career. I didn't climb the ladder. I rebuilt it beneath me. By 33, I was one of the youngest senior strategists at Hensley Klein, a Fortune 100 company. My name graced trade magazines. I lectured at Stanford, Georgetown. I led teams, closed deals, advised boardrooms, filled with men twice my age. Then Parkinson's came for Mom. It doesn't care about careers or corner offices. I took a leave of absence, extended it twice, then resigned altogether. I moved back to Bakersfield to care for my mom full-time, appointments, medications, speech therapy, feeding tubes, all of it. I told her once, I can always get another job, but I can't get another you. For 4 years, I disappeared from LinkedIn and magazine lists, but stayed sharp. I read, I worked on consulting gigs remotely, mostly project-based, with low visibility. I didn't need the spotlight. I knew I still had the fire. When Mom passed, I took time to breathe, grieve, and find myself again. When I was ready, I didn't just want a job. I wanted a purpose. Winstead Technologies caught my attention after a quiet call from Patrice Caldwell, someone I mentored who's now a senior analyst there. They're trying to change things, she said, but there's pushback, a lot. The culture still has pockets. Pockets? I asked. A bias, she whispered. Blind spots. You'd make waves here, the right kind. I submitted my resume with no favors or backdoors through the same portal everyone uses. What I didn't know, and what the panel didn't know, was that the CEO had already seen it. Leon Carmichael never forgets a name. 10 years ago, I helped his company avoid a deal that could have sunk their profits. I didn't realize it. He remembered, yes, but someone else in the building had already seen my resume and hadn't forgotten me. Back in conference room 3, things were changing, but not in my favor. The longer the interview went on, the more obvious it became. They weren't interested in my skills. They just wanted to test how much I could take. Buzzcut leaned forward. Let's do a quick exercise. You're handed a team resistant to your leadership. What's your first move? I answered without hesitation. I sit with them, I listen, I find out what they think the problem is before assuming it's about me. He smirked. So you start by being soft? I tilted my head slightly. Number I start by being smart. That stopped him cold. Pinstripe jumped in. We're fast-paced. This isn't a place for holding hands and campfire songs. We need results without slowing anyone down. I narrowed my eyes. Just a touch. Clarity isn't a slowdown. It's the fuel. You can't go anywhere if your team doesn't know where they're headed or why. Pinstripe gave a thin smile, one that didn't reach his eyes. That's one way to see it. Red Lipstick tapped her pen. Honestly, you come across very direct. Some might take that as combative. Would you adjust your tone if asked? I didn't blink. Is it my tone or your comfort with women who don't play small? She blinked twice. Buzzcut shifted for the first time. They were off balance. No apologies, no admissions. Just another question, another jab, another attempt to chip away. But I stayed steady. Didn't fold. Precision. Poise. No raised voice. Just presence, filling the room like a wave. Just when it felt like the same old questions, why this job, why now, why me, came full circle, the door opened. No knock, no warning, just the quiet sound of the stainless steel handle turning and the glass door swinging wide. Everyone turned. He walked in. Leon Carmichael. No tie. Rarely wore one. Just a tailored gray suit, calm expression, neatly trimmed graying beard, phone in hand, but not looking at it. His eyes locked on me. Red Lipstick sat straighter. Pinstripe sat up. Buzzcut cleared his throat. Leon, Pinstripe said quickly. He raised one finger, just enough to hush the room. He walked straight toward me, calm and sure, eyes never leaving mine. When he stopped beside my chair, he did something none expected. He smiled, extended his hand, and bowed slightly. Miss Eldridge, he said, voice steady. Thank you for coming. We've been looking forward to this. Then he turned to the panel. The chairwoman's seat is still open, he said, like it was the most obvious thing in the world. Silence. Nobody moved. I looked at him, studied his face, then stood and shook his hand. Mr. Carmichael, I said, it's been a while. You still make rooms shift, he said, almost to himself. That moment cracked something wide open inside that company. The silence wasn't respectful. It was exposed, like someone yanked back the curtain, and now everyone had to sit in what they'd allowed to happen. Buzzcut tried to recover. Leon, this is just a preliminary screening. We haven't gone through the full candidate pool yet. Leon didn't even look at him. He turned back to me, gestured gently toward the hallway. Let's find a quieter space to talk. I didn't look back. Didn't need to. I gathered my folder, straightened my jacket, and followed him out. We walked in silence until we reached a private room. 2 doors down, no glass walls, just clean white walls, a wooden table, and the hush of soundproof silence that serious talks require. Leon closed the door and exhaled through his nose. I knew your name looked familiar, he said, pulling out a chair for me. Didn't put it together until I saw your face. I stayed composed. I didn't expect you to remember. You saved us a nightmare with that merger fallout in 2014. I haven't forgotten what leadership looks like. I nodded once quietly. Well, I doubt the people in that room would agree. Leon shook his head slowly, disappointment flickering. That panel's on borrowed time. They don't decide who leads here. I do. Then why am I here? He held my gaze a long moment. Because Patrice Caldwell sent me your resume, said you're the future this company needs. She was right. And we're cleaning house, not just on paper, but for real, quietly. From the inside, I tilted my head. You really think one person can fix a broken culture? I think the right one can. And I'm not offering you middle management. I want you in a seat no one expects, where you will be impossible to ignore. I breathed in, deliberate. Chairwoman. Why me? Because you've done this kind of work before, in harder places? with more pressure and less credit because they thought they could box you out, and because you'll scare the hell out of everyone who's gotten too comfortable. Leaning back, I considered, will I have the power to restructure? Full authority. Policies, hiring, your call. I looked at him carefully. And if they resist? Leon shrugged lightly. Then they're welcome to leave. I paused. I'm not here to be a symbol or for PR. If I'm doing this, I'm changing everything top to bottom. He smiled. That's exactly what I'm counting on. There was a knock at the door. Leon ignored it. They already know, he said, gesturing vaguely. Half the floor saw me walk in. This is starting to spread. I don't want applause, just space to get the job done. You'll have it, he said. I nodded. We're done here. He stood, extended his hand again, not just polite, this time a seal on what's real. I took it. Shock ran through the halls, not slow, but like wildfire through steel. The word didn't just spread, it raced. By the time we stepped out, people tried not to stare, but desks suddenly sharpened, screens glowed harder, keyboards clicked louder, and eyes kept sliding. To me. No official announcement needed. The message was out. They saw me walk from the interview room alongside the CEO. No one needed an email to connect the dots. The 3 interviewers, still stuck in conference room 3. I didn't look their way. Leon stopped at the door. We'll follow up this afternoon. Don't jump to conclusions, he said. Pinstripe looked ready to speak, but held back. In the elevator, Leon turned to me. I know what you walked into this morning. I heard what they said. I met his gaze. I hope you also know what they didn't say, but meant. He nodded. That's why you're here. No fanfare when I got to my car. No speeding, no tears, no calls. Drove to a small cafe on South Lamar, ordered black coffee, sat in the corner, eyes on the door. Second sip, it hit me. This was more than a title. This was taking it back. Meanwhile, Winstead was buzzing. Patrice Calwell got a message. Is it true? She's chairwoman now? No reply. In the break room, 2 analysts whispered over lunch. Wait, she's Monica Elridge, the one from Hensley Klein? Yeah, Carmichael brought her himself. Some whispered support. Some whispered fear. Others whispered the old guard might finally be ousted. Red Lipstick paced her office for over 10 minutes before knocking on Leon's door. He waved her in but didn't get up. I want to clear the air, she said carefully. Earlier, I might have been too direct. Leon didn't say anything. I just want to make clear my intention was never to... You don't need to finish that, he cut in calmly, but you will sit through a full review of every interview you've led in the last 2 years. She blinked. Is that really necessary? I'd say overdue, he replied, emotionless. She swallowed, nodded once, and left. Later that afternoon, I got a formal offer. It wasn't just a new executive title. It was an invitation to reshape leadership, rethink hiring, rewrite the handbook, and lead the diversity board, not just in name, but in real action. I didn't accept right away. Instead, I asked for one-on-ones with each executive director. No assistants, no agendas. 1 hour each. Some agreed quickly. Others delayed, but they all knew what this meant. This wasn't a hire. This was a shift. That night I sat at my kitchen table, going through internal memos, policy documents, legal compliance, staff demographics, leadership history Leon sent over. Nothing surprised me. The numbers told the story. The looks in that interview room told the rest. And then, for the first time that day, I smiled. Not out of satisfaction, but clarity. I knew exactly what needed to be done. This wasn't just about me anymore. 2 weeks later, I showed up on my first official day. I didn't sneak in the back. I didn't take the private elevator. I walked through the front doors of Winstead Technologies at 8:03 a.m., carrying a leather portfolio, wearing a dark green blouse, tailored slacks, and a calm expression that said, I'm not here for applause. I'm here for business. The receptionist The same one from my interview stood before I reached the desk. "Miss Elridge, good morning. Welcome back." I smiled politely. "Thank you. Is Patrice in yet?" "I believe so. I'll let her know you're on your way up." People noticed. Elevators always fall silent when I step in. Conversations halt. Some people watch cautiously, unsure what I represent. Others look away, heads down, whispering among themselves. I don't flinch. I'm not here to make friends or enemies. I'm here to build something lasting. At 9 a.m., I'm in a closed-door meeting with senior leadership, 11 directors, 3 VPs, Leon, and 2 HR officers. I stand while they sit. No slides, no charts, just one question. I look around slowly. How many of you can honestly say you've been truly challenged by someone who doesn't look like you? Silence fills the room. One director clears her throat softly. "I don't think we resist being challenged." "That's not my question." Silence again. "I've reviewed every hiring report, promotion file, disciplinary record for the past 5 years. I've seen the patterns, some unconscious, some deliberate. That's okay because now I'm here to fix them." AVP leans forward cautiously. "Fix how?" "I mean rewrite. Policies, culture, accountability." Some faces stiffen. There will be bias response training, mandatory exit interviews, audits, and anonymous performance review feedback. If any of that seems unnecessary to you, maybe you should rethink your leadership role. This isn't a threat, it's a choice. I settled into a steady pattern. Meetings, listening, reviewing, fixing things quietly. No dramatic entrances, no flashy speeches, just focused action. I launched weekly office hours, open to everyone, janitors, junior analysts, whoever wanted to talk, no appointment necessary. At first, no one came. Then 3 showed up. By week 3, my assistant had to organize time slots. The stories started pouring in. A woman repeatedly passed over for promotion, a black engineer whose ideas got stolen by another team, a new hire handed outdated harassment policies. I took it all in, followed up with care and quiet resolve. No raised voices, no reminders about my own interview. The building remembered. One afternoon, Patrice dropped by with coffee, telling me Ite says I'm the reason they stay, and marketing swears I'm the secret CEO. I chuckled and said I'm too busy running things to want the CEO's job. She raised an eyebrow. I told her I'm good and just getting started. Even with the seat, I knew the work was just beginning. I watch interns walk a little straighter after seeing someone like me at the top, not posing but deciding. I think about that interview, the way they looked, the questions, the tone, the resume. My place there. They didn't know what they were seeing. Maybe that's the lesson. Mom told me when I wanted strategy, they'll try to turn your voice down, but never give them the dial. I didn't turn it down. I kept speaking clearly, measured, loud enough to build something that lasts. Power isn't always handed to you. Sometimes you carry it before they even realize. And those who try to shrink you, they remind you how big you really are. I didn't rewrite culture overnight. Bias didn't disappear at once. But I proved one thing. You don't need to ask for the seat. You already are the seat. I'm making the table longer now. Grabbed my coat, flipped off the light. No drama, no speeches, just purpose in every step. Tomorrow I'm back. The next day too. Every day after until this is normal, not rare. If you've been doubted or made to shrink, don't. Grow. Take your seat. And if it's missing, build your own. Strength doesn't always shout. Sometimes it just shows up until the room changes